Welcome back, beautiful, to another episode of the Manifesting Simplified podcast, where we make manifestation simple and practical so that you can manifest your dream life. I'm your host, Paulina, and today we're gonna talk about how to remove a third party, because third party situations are something that many are dealing with. Before we dive into this episode, just a reminder for you. If you take the time to leave a 5-star rating and a review on this podcast, you will receive a $150 credit towards any of my programs, courses, or even my one-on-one coaching. This is an amazing way to spread the word about this podcast and to help other people get into the driver's seat of their lives as well and manifest their dream life. Something that I see online is that many people are struggling with a third party situation and they don't know how to get rid of the third party. So this is what we're gonna dive into today. A lot of people have manifested another person for their specific person, and it can feel really frustrating and disheartening to see the person that you love and care so deeply about being with someone else. First of all, I just want to tell you that manifesting a third party removal and manifesting your specific person back is no different than manifesting something small, such as a free cup of coffee or $100. And hearing this may trigger you, but please keep your ears open because I'm gonna share some golden nuggets with you today. I completely understand that it feels like the third party is something different than, for example, a cup of coffee or $100 because it's a real human being. But manifestation works the exact same way, even if we're talking about removing another person. And from my experience coaching both women and men over these last years on how to overcome a third party to manifest their specific person back, I have seen many being able to see movement in the right direction already after just 1 week after applying these things that I'm gonna share with you here today. It does not have to take months or even years. Are you excited yet? I hope so. Let's get started. In order to remove the third party from the picture, we first need to understand how the third party was created in the first place. And if you have been into manifestation and reality creation for some time, you understand how manifestation works, and you understand that you're manifesting your reality 24/7, all of the time, through your subconscious mind and through your beliefs. You understand that you manifested that third party. I know this is something that is hard to grasp at first, that you actually created the third party. You manifested that shitty situation for yourself. Like, how the fuck did you manifest your specific person to be committed to someone else? Like, that's not what you wanted. I want you to keep an open mind here because if you're completely new to the concept that the third party was created by you, it can be a little hard to hear at first, but please stay with me here. So there are several ways that you could have created that third party to be, and basically it all comes down to your subconscious mind and to your beliefs, fears, doubts, and insecurities. You can get into a third party situation, for example, if you have a fear of being abandoned or rejected and you're afraid that they're gonna leave you or find someone else. Also, if you don't feel good enough, you don't feel worthy, you feel inadequate or unlovable, you might also not on some level expect to be chosen by your specific person. And you might not have felt like your relationship with your specific person was secure, and so you might have felt a little insecure at some point, and that might have led you to be a little needy and seeking external validation and seeking that approval from your specific person. And so then you got into a space where you were trying to convince your specific person to be with you, and you might even have felt a little jealous of other women or men. And when you then ruminate in these feelings and these stories, that's how the third party is formed. So now that you know that you created the third party situation in the first place, you also know that you have the power to remove the third party from the picture just as quickly. And that's exactly what we're gonna do now. You hold the power. We're not gonna have a pity party, we're not gonna feel sorry for ourselves, we're not gonna play the victim of our reality. No, we're gonna take our power back and remind ourselves of who the fuck we are. You hold the power, and getting rid of a third party really comes down to two things. Number one is looking at your belief system and reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with the kind of reality that you want. And number two is shifting your awareness, your focus. Manifestation really is an inner game. You don't need to change anything in the external world. You don't need to change anything or anyone outside of yourself. What you need to do instead is to look within. And this is where the inner work that I'm all about comes into play. Because the inner work, aka changing your self-concept, your internal identity, how you see yourself, and looking at your beliefs and changing them on a subconscious level, is the only way to break the pattern for good and never have a third party show up again in any relationship ever. What happens when you're trying to remove a third party through a surface level manifesting technique like the whisper method or doing a magical spell without actually doing the inner work and upgrading your self-concept and your belief system is that you might be able to get rid of the third party, but there will be another third party showing up with a different face and a different name further down the line. That's a promise. So that's just how it goes, and we don't want that. You're not manifesting what you want, you're manifesting who you are. And this is why, even if you're manifesting a specific person and manifesting a third party removal, your focus should be on yourself, on upgrading your self concept and upgrading your beliefs. There really is no one else to change but self. I really want you to understand this. And also, upgrading your self-concept and looking at your beliefs will benefit you so much more long-term than any specific manifesting technique will do. So in order to get rid of that third party that is annoying and is bothering you and you just want them gone like yesterday, like let's be real. The first thing is you need to get honest with yourself. And look at the things that were going on in the relationship with your specific person before the third party showed up. What were you focusing on? And what were the stories that you were entertaining in your mind? Was the relationship going too well and you expected the other shoe to drop? And you expected something bad to happen? Or were you afraid of being second best and not good enough for your person? And you were maybe afraid of getting left or cheated on. One of my private clients came to me because she had been manifesting her specific person back for a longer period of time, like we're talking months. And they had been in no contact for 4 months and she didn't understand why things were moving in the wrong direction. She felt like she was doing all of the right things, like the things that you see online on how to manifest your specific person. So she was repeating affirmations to herself on a daily basis like, my specific person is so in love with me and he only has eyes for me. She was also scripting her perfect day with her specific person. But what happened was that instead of her seeing any movement with her specific person, there was suddenly a third party that had showed up. And so there was no third party beforehand. It was only after she started manifesting her specific person back, now suddenly she was also dealing with a third party. And when she came to me, she was confused as to why this had happened because she had been working on herself for years and she considered her self-concept to be pretty good. But after some digging, we uncovered that she had a limiting belief of always being second option. And this is a big one that I see with many of my clients. And so when tapping into her subconscious mind, she remembered a specific experience from her childhood where her mom had given more attention to her younger sister and she had felt like she was second option. This is exactly how limiting beliefs are formed in the first place. Like most of them don't make any logical sense as we grow older, but this is the thing with our beliefs. Most of the beliefs that limit you and hold you back in life stem from your childhood and they were formed through experiences that you had between the ages of 0 to 7. And you might not even be consciously aware of them right now or remember these experiences, but you created these limiting decisions, these limiting beliefs from something that happened. And yeah, you can look at the same situation today and be like, of course my mom was giving my younger sister more attention than me. I was older and she was just a newborn, like she needed more care, she needed more attention. But when you're a child and you make these disempowering meanings regarding things that are happening from which the limiting beliefs are formed, you don't have the same brain where you can be rationalizing things that are happening. And so with my private client, after we removed this limiting belief of being second option through a proven limiting belief clearing process, she felt an internal shift immediately. And so only a couple weeks later, the third party was gone from the picture and my client's specific person reached out to her apologizing for what he had done and he felt pretty ashamed of everything as well. And they started seeing each other again. This is the power of working with the subconscious mind. This is why I always preach that things don't have to take a long time, especially when you're working with the subconscious mind. After you have upgraded your self-concept and you have worked on those beliefs and fears that caused that third-party situation to become in the first place, what you want to do then is shift your focus. It really becomes your daily job to shift your focus from what you don't want, aka the third party, to what you do want, which is the relationship with your specific person, right? It's so easy for us to become super fixated on what we don't want to see and on the third party, going on social media, stalking their social media accounts, looking at their stories, looking at what they're up to, and watching heaps of videos on how to get rid of the third party and how to manifest your specific person back. And then trying out many different manifesting techniques and focusing on doing all of the work on a daily basis. But what are you focusing on then? Who are you in that process? Are you the version of you who already has the relationship with your specific person, or are you the version of you who is dealing with the third party situation? I want you to think of the situation kind of like watering a plant. So when you water a plant and you give it attention, it grows. And when you stop watering the plant and you stop giving it attention, it dies. Simple as fuck. The same applies to the third party. Are you constantly watering the third party with your focus and with your attention and allowing it to grow? You have to keep this in mind that every time you give the third party and that situation your attention, you're keeping them there. So really what you want to do is take responsibility for what you're focusing on throughout your day and what you're entertaining in your mind. Learn to focus on yourself more. Take back all of that emotional and mental power that you have given away to the third party and invest it into yourself. Invest it into upgrading your self-concept, upgrading your beliefs, and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm telling you, things can shift very quickly once you learn how to shift your focus from your current circumstances and situation and keep it primarily focused on your desired end result. You really need to release the past because the past is history, it doesn't exist anymore, it only exists in your mind. And instead, what you want to do is step into a brand new reality. The more that you focus on your specific person being committed to someone else and you focus on that third party, and the more you focus on the hurtful things that were said and done in the past, the slower this manifestation process is gonna be. Because you create your reality through your awareness. Whatever you're focusing on, that's where you're sending your energy, and so that's what you will get more of. That's what you're gonna see more of in your reality. So how can you expect the shitty situation to change if you're constantly focusing on that? The more you place your focus on the third party and the thing currently standing between you and your desire, the more you generate it being there. From understanding this then, it really doesn't make sense to talk about the problem at all. It doesn't make sense to complain about the third party to your friends or even online, because that's exactly how you perpetuate the problem. You continue to perpetuate the problem by constantly acknowledging its existence. Instead, when you do the inner work and you upgrade your self-concept and begin to shift your belief system and your daily focal point, your perceived obstacles like the third party will drop off the map super fast and new doors will open up instead. It almost looks like magic, even if it's not. Because manifestation is super logical and you're creating your reality through your subconscious mind all day long. Because your subconscious mind will continuously align you with the reality that you keep telling yourself and focusing on as real. So the less that you can feed that third party energy, the better. From my experience and also what I've seen with my clients is that it's difficult to shift your focus away from that third party as long as there's an emotional charge. It's like our ego mind will make sure to direct our focus towards the third party situation and give us all of the reasons and excuses for why exactly this desired relationship that we want is unattainable and why it simply cannot work for us. If you're frustrated about the presence or existence of the third party and you're maybe comparing yourself to them, wondering what they have that you don't have, telling yourself things like, why is it taking so long for the third party to leave? How much longer will they be together for? I wonder if my specific person thinks about me while they are with them. Kind of feeling like the third party is the obstacle standing in your way to you getting your specific person, and therefore giving your power away to that third party because now the third party has the power over how your reality goes. So now you're not the creator of your reality anymore, you're a victim of your circumstances. But as we know, there is nothing outside of you deciding anything for you. There is nothing outside of you deciding anything for you. There is only you, the observer of your reality, dictating your reality through your awareness and your belief system. You really are in control of your reality, and I want you to see your reality as a movie. And I want you to see yourself as not only the star of your own movie, but also as the screenwriter. And everyone in your movie is simply playing the role that you assign to them through your beliefs, assumptions, and expectations. So when you change your internal world, your external world has to reflect it. So if there's an emotional charge and you're upset about the circumstances and bothered by that third party, this will certainly not help you bring in your manifestation faster. It's like that emotional charge is the glue that holds that third party in place. So what you want to do is clear that emotional charge and stabilize your emotional levels. So that way it will be much easier to shift your focus away from your unfavorable circumstances and shift it towards your desired end result instead. It's only when you have cleared that emotional charge and stabilized your emotional levels that it's gonna be easier to shift your focus and quiet your ego mind and that constant mind chatter that is otherwise gonna be reminding you every day of that third party. And so you can stabilize your emotional levels and clear that emotional charge, that glue, through practices like breathwork. I personally love breathwork so much because it has been a game changer for me ever since I found it almost a decade ago, and it has helped me so much on my healing journey and my personal development journey. Breathwork is really powerful for nervous system regulation. And if you're inside my manifestation membership called the Manifest Monthly Membership, there are some life-changing, powerful breathwork journeys, somatic work practices, embodiment practices, and also powerful subconscious rewiring and neuro-linguistic programming practices to change how your brain stores information and also to change the internal representation of different situations and circumstances so that you can immediately look at that third-party situation through a neutral lens where it no longer bothers you emotionally or mentally. If you ask me, it's so much easier to do this and to be able to look at that same situation from a different, more neutral perspective because there's no more hurt, pain, anger, or frustration. There's no more negative emotions attached to that situation. And from this space, you will naturally have access to more positive and empowering thoughts so that you don't need to focus on shifting your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. It's gonna be something that happens automatically. I also want you to remember that just because you set the intention today to overcome the third party and manifest your specific person back, and just because you start upgrading your self-concept and looking at your beliefs today, does not mean that tomorrow you're gonna wake up and everything is gonna change. Even if everything looks and feels the exact same for the next days or weeks, it doesn't mean that everything isn't working out for you. It doesn't mean that things aren't moving and that things aren't shifting behind the scenes. I really want you to remember that so that you don't doubt yourself so much, but instead you trust yourself and you trust the process and you trust that you can't fuck it up. I mean, at least it can't get worse than it is right now, right? It's also super common that in the process of getting rid of the third party, you don't see any movement for days or weeks. You don't see any proof of it working until suddenly your specific person reaches out of the blue, or you bump into them somewhere. So the only evidence you need in the beginning is how you feel internally and the end result that you're imagining in your mind. So keep that in mind and remove the glasses that are always looking for evidence in the external world. You don't need those glasses anymore. You don't need to look at your reality through that lens anymore because it doesn't serve you. It's better if you don't seek for any evidence of it working. Because so often when we set the intention to manifest something, we then check in with our reality immediately after. Looking through the lens of, is it working? Is it happening? Stop it. Know that it's working. Know that it's happening. Know that you can have exactly what it is that you want. I want to hear from you after you have applied all of these golden nuggets that I've shared here with you today into your daily life. I also want to hear your manifestation success stories, whether that's manifesting your specific person, manifesting money, or something else. So make sure to keep me updated. Either send me a DM on Instagram or TikTok or send me an email. Also, if you found this episode helpful, please share it on social media and tag me, Paulina XENIA, so that I know that you loved it and it was helpful and so that I can celebrate you on your journey to manifesting your desires.